Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to take a big stack of information, really sift through it, and pull out those vital insights to help you get truly well-informed fast.
And today, we are diving into a really pretty extraordinary collection of sources. They detail, a series of high-stakes events, some very intricate characters, and a lot of covert operations.
Yeah, and our mission here is to kind of extract the critical nuggets from what's, let's face it, a really complex narrative. We want to reveal the surprising connections and, honestly, the profound implications of actions taken, in the shadows.
Exactly. We'll explore how things like national security, political maneuvering, and some deeply personal motivations all sort of intertwine.
We'll be focusing on the consequences, right?
Yeah.
The unfolding consequences of these clandestine choices and the unexpected ways they ripple out, sometimes across the globe. You're going to hear about a top intelligence agent, a conflicted terrorist, and a political showdown that's frankly more dramatic than any TV show.
It really is.
So let's start our deep dive. We begin right in New York City with Mitch Rapp. He's a central figure, obviously, in American intelligence. And he's watching a man suspected of treason. And this isn't just some low-level guy. It's Glen Adams, the CIA's own Inspector General.
Yeah, the IG himself.
So what exactly makes Adams a target for someone like Rapp?
Well, it's fascinating when you look at Adams's background and his sort of disillusionment. He's a former Justice Department lawyer, joins the CIA, but he gets fed up pretty quickly.
With what exactly?
With the Directorate of Operations, the covert side.
Yeah.
He actually called it crude, rude, and dim-witted. And after 9/11, he really started seeing parts of his own government, especially people like Rapp, as a genuine threat.
A threat. How so?
He believed they were, in his words, trampling all over the Constitution. He genuinely seemed to think he was, exposing serious wrongdoing from within.
Wow, that's quite a conviction for someone so high up inside the agency. And Rapp's surveillance turns up something else, right? A pretty significant vulnerability.
Oh, yeah. Adams is a severe alcoholic. Rapp's team documents him downing 2 gin martinis, 4 glasses of red wine, just during one meeting.
Just one meeting.
Yeah. And his old law school classmate, a guy named Ernest, he actually warns Adams, tells him his behavior is reckless, saying he's wandered out onto a very dangerous cliff.
Why is that detail, the drinking, so crucial here?
Well, it's not just, a character flaw. For intelligence guys, it's a massive red flag. It shows how even powerful people can be compromised by these sort of personal vulnerabilities.
Making them targets.
Exactly. Targets for manipulation, maybe even betrayal, and it gives Rapp immediate leverage.
Okay, so how does Rapp use that leverage? He doesn't just sit back and watch.
No. Rapp's team orchestrates a full-on clandestine abduction. They pull Adams right out of his car, right there in New York City.
Wow. Yeah.
Then they transport him to a secret facility down near Lake Anna, Virginia. And this place is run by the legendary Stan Hurley, Rapp's old trainer, irascible guy, 78 years old.
Stan Hurley, okay.
Yeah.
So Adams is taken to Hurley's place. What happens during the interrogation?
Well, Rapp confronts him, lays out all the evidence of the alcoholism. We're talking bank statements, credit card receipts, even video of Adams buying booze and trying to hide it, dumping bottles.
He's got him cornered.
Completely. But the most shocking part, the real bombshell, comes when Adams finally cracks and admits where he got his sensitive information.
Which was?
He wiretapped his wife's therapist, Dr. Lewis.
Wait, hang on. He tapped his wife's therapist. That's not just personal betrayal. That sounds like a massive security nightmare.
It is, exactly, because it uncovers this critical security vulnerability. If Adams, who they now know is compromised and untrustworthy, can access therapist notes.
He could potentially access notes on anyone else seeing that therapist.
Precisely. Other Langley personnel, maybe even Director Irene Kennedy herself, if she saw the same doctor. It's a huge breach, a potential gold mine for blackmail.
And what does the therapist, Dr. Lewis, say about Adams?
Well, later, Dr. Lewis gives a diagnosis, a narcissistic sociopathic combination, and she specifically notes he'll likely betray them again if they let him go.
That explains a lot. So what's the decision? Hurley probably wants to just eliminate the problem.
That's Hurley's instinct, yeah. Get rid of him. But Rapp makes a different call. He decides to try and turn Adams.
Turn him? How?
He forces Adams to write this note saying he's checking himself into rehab voluntarily. It's a strategic move, right?
Yeah.
Keeps Adams alive, but under their control, under surveillance.
A high-risk gamble.
Very high risk. Rapp's hoping Adams might prove useful down the line. So, okay, while Rapp is dealing with this insider threat, this traitor, there's a completely different kind of internal struggle brewing elsewhere.
Right, tearing apart an al-Qaeda cell.
Exactly. So now we shift focus. We've got this al-Qaeda cell led by a guy named Karim. He calls himself the Lion of al-Qaeda. Yeah. And with him is his colleague, Hakim, who's becoming deeply disillusioned. They're holed up in an old farmhouse, middle of nowhere, rural Iowa. Hakim actually picked the spot because it was so remote.
Hakim sounds different. What's his deal? What's his internal struggle about?
Well, unlike Karim, Hakim's traveled widely, he's seen more of the world, and he's really critical of al-Qaeda's narrow worldview. He argues, quite passionately apparently, against certain tactics.
Like what?
Like using secondary explosions specifically designed to kill rescue workers, first responders. Hakim believes it would just backfire, enrage Americans even more, and prolong the whole conflict.
So his struggle is personal but also strategic.
Deeply personal, yeah. He's questioning his faith. Not in Allah, he's clear about that, but in his friend Karim and in the organization's leadership, which he sees as self-serving. This internal conflict makes him, interesting, a potential weak link, maybe even a defector.
An enemy within the cell itself.
Exactly, someone the intelligence community might be able to exploit, if they knew.
And this tension, this internal conflict, it boils over, doesn't it? In a pretty tragic way.
It does. Two hunters, completely innocent guys in orange vests, stumble onto their hideout. Another cell member, Ahmed, he immediately thinks they're feds.
But Hakim knows better.
Yeah, Hakim recognizes them instantly, just local hunters. He pleads with Karim, don't do it, they're nobody. But Karim is paranoid, impulsive. He kills both men.
Just like that, leaving a huge trail.
Huge trail, and it's a reckless act with immediate consequences, obviously. It pushes Hakim right over the edge.
He decides he has to get out.
He does. And what's really surprising is that Ahmed, the other guy, the one loyal to Karim, he actually helps Hakim escape.
Really? Why?
It's not entirely clear from the source, maybe some hidden sympathy, or maybe he just saw Karim's recklessness too. But he gives Hakim car keys, directions. So Hakim, who's actually been badly injured by Karim during an argument just before this, he manages to limp away.
Carrying the burden of betrayal, but also
Carrying critical intelligence about Karim in the cell.
Right, so Hakim's gone. Karim is left leading the remnants. And what happens to him, he gets obsessed with his public image.
Totally obsessed, especially after he sees himself identified in the media as the Lion of al-Qaeda. It just fuels his narcissism.
And how does that play out?
He goes digging. Uses public records, believe it or not, to find intimate details about Mike Nash's family. Nash is another key figure we'll get to, closely linked with Rapp.
He's targeting Nash's family.
Yeah, finds info on his wife Maggie, the kids, Shannon, Rory, Jack, Charlie. Finds their MySpace pages, school photos, everything. It's chilling.
And then he crafts some kind of message.
He does. A chilling message for the media, basically declaring war, declaring his intent to strike right at the heart of America. He says, I am the Lion of al-Qaeda, a son of Muhammad. I do not run. I stand and fight. I have killed your hero and sacrificed my life for Islam.
He's planning a big public attack.
Yeah, in Washington, D.C. And he finds a staging ground, a luxurious estate owned by Saudi Aramco. And when the executive who lives there and his companion return unexpectedly early, Karim just coldly murders them both.
Okay, so Karim is escalating, becoming more dangerous. Rapp needs to track these guys down. He reaches out internationally.
He does. He connects with his counterparts. George Butler from British intelligence, MI6, and Catherine Cheval from French intelligence, the DGSE. They meet secretly on a remote island in the Azores.
Why is that kind of cross-agency collaboration so important, but also, you mentioned, complicated?
Well, it's crucial because these threats are global, right? No one agency has all the pieces. You need shared intelligence. But it gets complicated because the U.S. intelligence community faces a lot of pressure for transparency.
You mean like FOIA requests, political pressure?
Exactly. Freedom of Information Act requests.
Yeah.
Groups like the ACLU demanding information. And that makes allies, like the Brits or the French, understandably hesitant sometimes to share their most sensitive sources or methods. They worry their own operations could get blown.
That makes total sense. It's a real tension. So, despite those complications, what intel do they manage to uncover in this meeting?
They get some game changers. Cheval, the French agent, her Moroccan operative identifies Ahmed Abdallah, that's the other cell member, the sniper, as an active participant in recent attacks. And crucially, they confirm he's still alive via an email he sent his brother.
Okay, so Ahmed is still with Karim. What else?
Then Butler, the Brit, drops a bombshell. He reveals the entry point for a third terror cell into the U.S.
Another cell. How did they get in?
Through Cuba. They smuggled cocaine as cover, paying off a Cuban colonel with 10% of the drug shipment.
Wow. And this connects to other events.
Yeah. Butler links it to a seemingly minor drug war down in South America, a mosque firebombing somewhere, and even a Coast Guard helicopter crash down in the Florida Keys. It turns out the smuggler leading this third cell used the alias Adam Farhat, but his real identity is someone known as Al Harbi.
This is getting incredibly tangled.
Yeah.
A global web. And all this intel, does it lead Rapp somewhere specific?
It leads him to Nassau in the Bahamas. Turns out Hakim, the disillusioned one who escaped Iowa.
Right, the one injured by Karim.
Yeah. He's there, now using the name Michael Andros. And he's trying to access an offshore bank account. Needs the money to fund his escape, probably to Brazil.
So Rapp has a chance to grab him.
Exactly. And Rapp's team executes this flawless snatch and grab right in broad daylight in Nassau. They subdue Hakim quickly with a tranquilizer dart.
And take him where? Back to Hurley's place.
Back to the quarry, yeah. Stan Hurley's hidden facility. And despite his injuries, Hakim starts providing crucial information under interrogation. They even hook him up to a polygraph to verify.
Okay, so while Rapp's team is grabbing Hakim in the Bahamas and Karim is plotting in D.C., there's this whole other drama playing out very publicly back in Washington.
Right, on Capitol Hill, you've got this congressional hearing, and Senator Carol Ogden, who's known as a really fierce critic of Rapp and the CIA in general, she's front and center.
And she's going after Rapp.
Oh, yeah. Leveling accusations of torture directly against him. She even goes so far as to suggest that a recent attack on the National Counter-Terrorism Center, the NCTC, might have been some kind of inside job.
An inside job? To what end?
To eliminate critics, she implies, and maybe stir up anti-Muslim sentiment. It's a really inflammatory accusation.
How does Rapp respond to that? He's not exactly known for backing down.
No, he definitely doesn't back down. He counters her accusations head-on. He reminds the committee of his own sacrifices, points out he's been shot 3 times, captured by Hamas, beaten up in Syria and Yemen, laying out his own skin in the game.
And then he turns it on her.
He delivers this absolutely devastating blow. He exposes what he frames as her hypocrisy. He contrasts her outrage over his methods with her documented support for a specific controversial late-term abortion procedure, even naming the doctor involved a Dr. Smith.
Whoa. That must have shut things down.
It visibly shakes the committee, yeah. It's a brutal, calculated move designed specifically to discredit Ogden publicly.
Politics at its roughest. Meanwhile, what about Mike Nash? The guy whose family Karim was researching. How's he holding up through all this?
Nash is really struggling, deeply, with the moral weight, the personal toll of the job. He's feeling, exposed, maybe even used by Rapp after the NCTC incident where he was a hero.
So leadership sees this. Director Kennedy, the president.
They do. They recognize Nash's immense value, but also his vulnerability right now. So they decide to do something quite public for him.
It should.
They engineer a surprise medal ceremony. Right in the Oval Office, President Alexander personally awards Nash the Distinguished Intelligence Cross.
For his actions at the NCTC.
Exactly. The president recounts the whole story, how Nash single-handedly charged and killed 6 armed terrorists inside the NCTC, and then, with help from colleagues, physically threw their bodies out a 6th-floor window just before their suicide vests could detonate.
Incredible heroism. And the point of the public ceremony.
It's meant to elevate Nash, make him a public hero, make him essentially untouchable, shielding him from political attacks or scrutiny.
That's a powerful move. But here's a twist, right? Rapp isn't there.
That's the interesting part. Rapp apparently orchestrated this whole thing, pushed for the medal, but he himself is conspicuously absent from the ceremony.
Why would he skip it?
Well, Rapp despises politicians, hates the public fanfare. He operates in the shadows, and that's where he wants to stay. His absence kind of underscores that whole hidden world, the sacrifices made that nobody sees, and, frankly, his contempt for the whole political stage.
But this public recognition for Nash, it has an unintended consequence, doesn't it?
A deadly one, yeah.
How so?
Because Karim, the lion of Al-Qaeda, he sees Nash on TV, receiving the medal, being celebrated as a hero, and fueled by his own rage, his narcissism.
He decides to target Nash directly.
Targets Nash and his family. It escalates Karim's plan. He now wants an even grander stage for his attack, with Nash at the center. So this attempt to protect Nash actually paints an even bigger target on his back.
And then the absolute worst happens. The personal cost really hits home.
It does. Mike Nash's daughter, Shannon, she's 15, takes the family minivan out for a drive, just a normal teenage thing.
Hi.
And she's abducted by Karim and Ahmed, right there in Washington, D.C.
Oh my God. How does Nash react?
He's consumed by fury, absolute rage, and he blames Rapp, blames him for exposing his family by making him this public hero.
Does Karim make contact?
Yeah, Karim calls Nash, demands Nash surrender himself in exchange for Shannon's life. His plan is to kill Nash on live television, cementing his own twisted legend.
It's a nightmare scenario. A race against time. The FBI is on the way.
The FBI's hostage rescue team, HRT, is mobilizing, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a desperate standoff unfolding right now.
But how do they find her? Rapp needs intel, fast.
And he gets it from the one person who might know Karim's plan, Hakim.
Back at the quarry. Still under interrogation.
Still there, yeah. And Hakim, maybe seeing a chance for some kind of redemption, or maybe just hating Karim enough, he provides the crucial intelligence.
What does he give them?
Karim's exact location in D.C. He confirms Karim's intent for martyrdom, that he's not planning to survive this. And he confirms Ahmed's role, the trained sniper likely providing cover. It's the precise, actionable intel they desperately need.
Okay, so they have the location. Nash must be frantic, wanting to go in himself.
Absolutely desperate, wants to charge in alone, but Rapp takes control. It has to be coordinated.
So Rapp leads the rescue.
Rapp and his team, yeah. It's a high-stakes, very coordinated breach of the building where Karim is holding Shannon.
Yeah, okay.
Shannon is rescued safely. It's a testament to that swift, decisive action based on Hakim's intel.
Thank goodness. What happens to the Nash family immediately after?
They're whisked away immediately. Helicopter picks them up, takes them to Hurley's secure lake house, far away from the inevitable media frenzy.
And who gets the credit publicly?
The FBI. The hostage rescue team takes the public credit for the rescue. It's a strategic decision, one Rapp readily agrees to. Again, it underscores the nature of their work. Keep the clandestine operators out of the spotlight. Let the official channels handle the public narrative. It protects everyone involved in the covert side.
And what about Nash and Rapp? Nash was furious. How do they reconcile this?
It takes time. Nash is initially still furious, understandably, but later he does reconcile with Rapp. He starts to truly recognize the impossible choices, the brutal necessities of the world they operate in.
He steps deeper into that world.
Yeah, he gets promoted. And the sources suggest he begins to really understand the harsh realities. He even decides he needs to be the one to take on the heavy lifting himself sometimes, particularly when dealing with internal threats, with traitors like Glen Adams. He's no longer just an operative. He's embracing the darker responsibilities.
Wow. This deep dive, it really lays bare how these seemingly disconnected threads, a disgruntled official like Adams, that internal power struggle in an al-Qaeda cell, high-level international intel sharing.
Yeah, how they can all converge. And the consequences are devastating, both personally for people like Nash and on a national security level.
It absolutely highlights the incredibly complex ethical terrain these intelligence agencies have to navigate. They're operating in this world where the normal rules are constantly bent or broken.
And that line between hero and villain can get really blurry, can't it? The story forces you, the listener, to consider the immense sacrifices made in the shadows, sacrifices most people never know about.
And the profound personal tolls, the cost to the individuals, like Nash, who fight these hidden battles to keep others safe.
Exactly.
So what does all this mean for you, listening? When we think about something like national security, how do we actually weigh the visible laws, the things we see debated, against the unseen, often brutal necessities of protection?
It's a tough balance. And how much transparency can a nation really afford, especially when its survival might genuinely depend sometimes on actions taken completely in secret?
It leaves us with a really provocative thought, I think.
Yeah. In this relentless war on terror, you have politicians using public outrage for their own ends. You have individual agents bending or breaking rules because they believe they have to protect the country.
So the question becomes, is the true enemy always external? Or can it sometimes be the very methods we choose to use, or maybe even the public discourse, the way we talk about the fight itself?